Welcome to the Real Estate Black Book, the Seller Edition. I'm Tyler Harmon. This week, we're going to talk about how to analyze your home before it hits the market. In business, they call this the SWOT Analysis. It stands for strengths, weaknesses, opportunities, and threats. For context, this is the step we talk about right after we talk about comparable sales in the neighborhood and understanding the trends affecting values. Things like how long a home sits on the market before it sells, things like that. So, in analyzing a home like this is great for when we start to understand who our buyer is, how we reach them, and then what we say to them once we get in front of them. So let's get started. The first step in the SWOT analysis is looking at the strengths of the house. An obvious strength is the architecture. Right now, people are going nuts over the mid-century modern homes. That's a good strength. What about layout? Is the whole house on one level? Does it have a two-car garage? Is there storage space? Is there a lot of outdoor space? Is it updated? Does it have a pool, a view? Does it make it for a good entertaining house? Make a list of these, and then we'll come back to them a little bit later. So, strengths are easy though to come up with, so let's try the next one. Weaknesses. This is where we start to hit a nerve with sellers because nobody wants to talk about a home's shortcomings. But what about the layout? For some reason, certain styles of architecture, they have some pretty bad layouts, craftsman homes in particular. You have to walk through sometimes 9 rooms before you can get into the kitchen. Maybe this has to do with the fact that about 100 years ago, people were buying these houses out of the Sears catalog and they're putting them together themselves like a puzzle. Anyways, how much space does the house have overall? Sometimes square footage can be very misleading. I've seen a whole bunch of homes out there with a lot of rooms, but they're all really tiny. Are there a lot of stairs? If you live on a hillside, not only do you have a lot of stairs inside the house most likely, but there's a lot of stairs outside just to get to the house. This isn't the end of the world, but it is a weakness. Okay, here's a big one. Does it have a small master bathroom? Or does it only have one bathroom? What about the neighbors? Are they right on top of you guys? Or do you have some space? Does anybody have that dreaded blue vinyl covering that's covering a bunch of stuff on the side of the house? Write these down in a separate column. The buyer's going to notice these things anyways the second they walk through the door, so we might as well get ahead of it. Okay, opportunities. I like to think of opportunities as things outside of the house that we can exploit. This is why it really helps to analyze the market and know the trends before we get to this. So let's say you live in Los Feliz, where the month of November is usually a pretty slow month for new listings. But for homes that do list during this month, they usually see pretty good results. If you're ready to hit the market in October, you may want to wait. Let that pack of new listings hit the market and go stale before you come on. That way, you can be the only show in town. Just a thought, but it could be a good opportunity. This is especially true right now over all of Los Angeles. There are just a few new listings hitting the market every week, but there's still a bunch of homes going into escrow right now. November is always a great time to be on the market. Sticking with the Los Feliz real estate, if you live in the hills north of the boulevard, you should know that only 10% of the homes up there are 2 bedrooms. It's rare, so show it off. As they say, if you can't fix it, feature it. I like to think of weaknesses as low-hanging fruit for the right buyer, especially if this is something that doesn't come along very often. You can list it with a low price and have people banging down the door to get it. With opportunities, you want to start sentences like this. We are the only. We are the only Spanish-style home up here with a view and a pool under $2 million. Okay, last but not least are threats. Right now, the big threat is interest rates. They're going up. Here's the situation. Higher interest rate, higher the mortgage payment, the less a buyer can afford. That affects the sales price. Something to think about. Another big threat is seller competition. Let's say you're ready to go list your home in April or May, but there are a lot of other people that are going to be listing their houses at that time. I'm not saying you won't sell your house, but it can definitely affect your buyer pool on days on market, and it can affect your final sales price. It can also be people who don't even live in your neighborhood but still spend time up there, like hikers. If you live up in the hills, you know that if you're near great hiking, you've seen these maniacs come down the hill in their car, and sometimes they put them up on 2 wheels when they go around these corners. Imagine looking at homes and getting run off the road by one of these maniacs. So, what do you do with the SWOT analysis? First, let's assume you've written all these down. So now we find ways to leverage these things. We turn weaknesses and threats into strengths and opportunities. For example, you're going on the market in May with everybody else. You know that, but you don't have a choice. You have to sell now. You need to exploit the threat of the competition that's going to be out there, and you need to be the belle of the ball. You need to knock it out of the park with marketing and hit the MLS with a great low price. That means you need to pull out all the stops, you need to steal the show from all the competition, pack that open house, and have a party and encourage everybody to write offers. This is called turning lemons into lemonade. But first, you need to sit down with your real estate agent and you need to take an inventory of the tools you actually have to work with. Then you can start to formulate the strategy. So that does it this week for the SWOT analysis. I hope this gives you some things to think about. Tune in next week when we talk about doing upgrades and repairs to your house before you hit the market. I'll see you then.